all week we'll be counting down Stephen A. and Max's top 5 players with the most pressure on them heading into the season. Today, at number 3, Stephen A. has Baker Mayfield and his progressive commercials, and Max has Tua Tagovailoa. Tua isn't on Stephen A.'s pressure list at all. Max, why is Tua under more pressure than Baker?
Well, I figured it would be obvious. Look, Baker Mayfield, whatever you think about his ultimate upside, is a good NFL quarterback. We can see that. If the Browns decided, you know what, we're going to draft another guy in the first round to take over, to be at the helm of this franchise, he's not going to get to his second contract with us. We know that's not going to happen. But if they did, there'd be a healthy market for Baker's services. Whether or not he resets the market, he's going to have a big, fat second contract in the NFL. Baker's here to stay. Tua, let's not forget, Tua Tagovailoa, not that long ago, was the special college quarterback. Remember, it was Justin Herbert, tank for Herbert, but by the end of that season, it's like, no, sorry, Tua's special.
Yeah.
Other than Trevor Lawrence, no one had more hype at their highest than Tua did. He was a left-handed Drew Brees, right? He had that special championship sense about him. We thought he was going to be a great NFL quarterback. Then the injury came, and Joe Burrow balls out, and Justin Herbert, who went after Tua, is just a special guy. And now Tua finds himself in Miami, good coach, really good defense. Jalen Waddle just taken in the draft. There's a guy you can throw the ball 5 yards to, can take it to the house, right? No, the Miami Dolphins should be right in the thick of things. And is Tua where Baker is? Oh, no. No. If you thought of Tua the way you even think of Baker, you think of the Dolphins differently. Stephen A., Tua's a guy who's been taken out of multiple games. No, this is year 2. This is the development year. He had a lot of reps year 1. He's a year more removed from the injury. The time to show everybody that they were right when they said he's going to be special in the NFL is right now. He is under more pressure than Baker Mayfield.
They also added Will Fuller.
You actually just said what you said on national TV with a straight face?
Oh, I certainly did.
A second-year player who you just acknowledged, this is the developmental year. Let's see what you got. Max Kellerman, as you have tried in your failed attempts to imitate me, okay, you would remind me of things that I said. Well, I don't fail when it comes to reminding you of what you say. Molly,
yes.
Do you know of anyone who has raved about the Cleveland Browns and his expectations for them more than Max Kellerman?
Him and Dan Orlovsky were championing that cause.
Not taking them to win the Super Bowl.
No, not even Dan Orlovsky. It would be Max Kellerman. And Baker Mayfield, the one who spent the first 2 years of his career having more progressive commercials than wins, before he finally decided to be relevant last year, courtesy of Kevin Stefanski's arrival, instead of Freddie Kitchens coaching the team. Baker Mayfield definitely upped his game and upped his stature and deserves our respect, and he certainly has it from me. But let's be very, very clear. When we think about Odell Beckham Jr. returning, when we think about the Jarvis Landrys of the world still being there, when we think about Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield, when we think about what they're doing defensively, not just having Myles Garrett, all right, but you also acquired Jadeveon Clowney and what have you, and you see what they bring to the table. There is no question that the expectations are considerably more on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield because of the expectations of the Cleveland Browns. And if the Cleveland Browns don't get it done, who are we going to look at? We're going to look directly at Baker Mayfield. We ain't going to blame Nick Chubb. We ain't going to blame Kareem Hunt. We ain't going to blame Landry. All right, we might try to blame Odell Beckham Jr., but then ultimately that comes down to whether or not he got the football, okay, or not. And that would have something to do with Baker Mayfield, along with the attitude, even though ultimately that would be the responsibility of the grown man that is Odell Beckham Jr. In the end, the quarterback's going to have something to do with influencing your attitude as well. Everything you could point to about the Cleveland Browns comes back to Baker Mayfield.
That's why I had him 5th on my list. Right? That's why he's in the top 5. But not more pressure than Tua right now. He's going to have a job. Baker's getting to the second contract. Baker's going to be a very rich man. Baker's not going to lose a starting job in the NFL. What you said about more progressive commercials than wins, he had 4 head coaches in 2 years and 1 game. He had Hugh Jackson, Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchens, and now Stefanski. By the way, the first 3 were so bad, they are unhireable in the NFL right now. At any level, like they can't get a job in the NFL. Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchens, Hugh Jackson as head coaches? Are they being considered for head coaches?
Greg Williams was not bad as a head coach of the Cleveland Browns. It was his behavior thereafter, particularly when he went to the Jets.
How about his play call?
The Bountygate stuff.
Hold it, Max.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? You were on national TV saying that Greg Williams, you'd have no problem with him getting a head coaching job in
And then
Cleveland.
subsequent events have shown a light that
No.
it wasn't for him. But wait a minute, I don't want to get bogged down in that. We can disagree with that another time.
Off the field, the subsequent events were his behavior when he left Cleveland.
At the very least, we can agree that those three coaches weren't right for Baker Mayfield. There was a lot of change very quickly. He didn't look good. And as soon as Stefanski took over, he's looked very good. Baker's set whether or not he wins a Super Bowl. Tua can go from future superstar to not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's on a winning team right now. The Dolphins should, if they have a real quarterback this year, they should be in the thick of things in the AFC East. He is fighting for his NFL starting life.
Cleveland has more expectations than Miami,
to cut this short.
Because Miami's in the AFC East with New England and Buffalo.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.